Welcome back to the Go Have Good Sex podcast, the show where faith and pleasure finally stop fighting. I'm Angela, the Christian sexpert, sex coach, truth teller, and your new favorite bedtime devotional. If you're ready to go deeper, check out my resources for couples and individuals, from my free 15-minute coaching consults to spicy but faith-friendly resources like the Marriage Playdate, to my Patreon, where I teach you all the things your church aunties never told you about. And yeah, you know I've got it covered with merch, journals, bookmarks, and everything in between at thechristiansexpert.com. So whether you're here to learn, to heal, or to spice things up with scripture and sass, I'm your girl, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into today's episode, and remember, go have good sex. Welcome back to the Go Have Good Sex podcast featuring me, the Christian sexpert. I'm your host, Angela, and today we're diving into a conversation that might hit home for a lot of women. We've all heard the same old marriage advice. Just improve your communication. Bring it up nicely. Don't nag. Love and respect, I'm looking at you. But what happens when you've done all of that and he still won't listen? What happens when you are carrying the invisible load of running the home, raising the kids, and keeping all of the mental tabs open all the time while he shrugs it off or, worse, refuses to change? My guest today is Abby Eckel, a former fair play facilitator who now helps women break free from the cycle of expectation, disappointment, and resentment. She teaches women how to set boundaries, let go of what isn't theirs to carry, and find peace even in marriages where their husbands won't share the mental load. We're talking about myths that keep women stuck, the church narratives that make resentment grow, and practical steps women can take to release the weight of carrying it all. Let's get into it. So, Abby, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this conversation for weeks. So excited about this conversation because this is just, it's so needed, especially after some of the conversations that I've been having online over the last week, especially.
Oh,
Yes. All right. So I just want to start so that we are all have the same basic understanding for people who might be unfamiliar with your work or the terms that are going to come up a lot in this conversation. Can you please define domestic labor, invisible labor, mental load, all of those sorts of things? How are they related? What are
yes.
they?
So domestic labor is pretty much all the happenings within your home. Some people might also consider that like childcare, caretaking. Depends on, who you are. I'll just all encompass it with childcare. But so all those things, your laundry, your cooking, your cleaning, and then that mental labor is all I would say like the concept and planning of those tasks, which is also, I think, kind of can be interchangeable with no, actually, it's not. I'm going to take that back. The mental labor is going to be taking stock of like the laundry on a weekly basis, taking stock on like your weekly household things that you have to get, or we got a sandwich bags, or do we need foil? Do we need dishwasher tablets? Those types of things. Prepping for those tasks, like, oh, I need to clean the shower. Okay, what is it going to take for me to clean the shower? What are the steps I have to take? The concept and the planning of the concept planning and execution that it takes for a task to be completed. And then the invisible labor is all the shit that you do that nobody sees. And is often the most exhausting part of motherhood or just being an adult in general. And the things that you probably hear women say they are exhausted by the most is the invisible labor, the stuff that just gets done that you don't even notice is getting done. You just come home and it's done. Oh, the towels are washed. Oh, we have clean washcloths. Oh, I've washed the bedding. Oh, the kids' laundry is done. Oh, somebody enrolled the kids for school. Like, that is the invisible labor that keeps a house running. That is more than likely unseen, but also some of the heaviest.
Right. So things like nobody notices that there's clean towels until there are no clean towels.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
why aren't there any clean
Where are
towels?
the clean towels? Precisely.
So I feel like that's a perfect example. I would agree with you that domestic labor and invisible labor aren't the same thing
Yeah.
because you can hire someone to do the actual domestic labor, but
Hmm.
that's still invisible labor to do the hiring
Yeah,
of the housekeeper or
exactly.
whatever.
Finding
Um,
it. Oh, I'm asking my
yes,
local Facebook group. Does anybody have somebody in the neighborhood that they use? Reaching
right.
out to them, finding a time that they're available, comparing costs. Like that's a lot of the stuff that you
Yeah,
don't see, but takes to actually hire somebody to come in. That's why I get really frustrated. People are like, just hire it out. Okay, well, who's gonna hire it out? Who's gonna find
yeah.
the person to hire it out to?
Right. And kind of doing the mental cost benefit analysis of is it worth investing the
Hmm.
time and energy to find someone
Yeah.
to hire it out to?
Hmm.
Because are they licensed? Are they going to use um, cleaning chemicals that I'm okay with, or do I
Hmm.
need to supply the cleaning supplies?
Yep.
And how is this going to fit into the budget? And are we going to have to cut somewhere to be able to afford it? Things
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a perfect example. I'm totally going to throw my bestie under the bus here. But I bought a skylight calendar for my household Black Friday.
Hmm.
And within 24 hours of getting it, I was like, you need this because we live in totally different states. And so when I go to visit her, I am co-parenting with her for, the 2 or 3 weeks that I'm there in the house. And
Hmm.
all of us are neurospicy. And so within 24 hours of us having the skylight, I was like, babe, you need this. And so that was what, December? And she just got hers within the last week. She just got hers like last week.
Hmm.
And for months, I've been like, babe, when are you going to get a skylight? Like, when are you going to get a skylight? And she's like, I don't have the mental capacity to sit down and figure out if skylight is the right choice or if it's going to be a hearth or what
Hmm.
Cozy La is
Hmm.
the new one
Yep.
that's on the
Hmm.
market.
Yeah.
And it's taken her 8 months to have the mental space to do the invisible labor of the research of is that actually the one that's the right fit for the family.
Yeah.
So
And then
I
filling
like,
it out, like
yeah,
doing it,
yeah,
implementing it, tying
yeah,
all the pieces together to make your skylight calendar function correctly.
yeah, exactly. The management and I mean, this is totally a plug for Skylight, but like once you get them set up and rolling,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm very
They're great.
passionate about ours. And they are a great tool, but this was we're already off track, shocker. Um, but it does take a hot minute to get them set up, and it does take some mental load on the person who is primarily responsible to get it set up in a way that is functional for your family.
Hmm.
So it's all mental load. So I've been dying to talk to you because so in popular culture on TikTok, social media, there's already a lot of conversation about mental load, domestic labor, equity in marriage, and a culture shift that is happening.
Hmm.
But I feel like in the spaces that I serve in evangelical culture, there's even more resistance to that because of the toxic ideas that popular culture, modern American evangelicalism promotes, which is not the same thing as what the Bible says. But there's a lot of toxic advice surrounding a lot of facets of a lot of these conversations. So I've been dying to talk to you about these things because women need to know that their needs matter too.
Hmm.
And in evangelical spaces, a lot of the marriage advice boils down to just improve your communication. But many women say that they have communicated and their husbands still won't listen. In
Hmm.
fact, All right, I am always down for some love and respect hate. The most popular Christian marriage book is Love and Respect, and in that book, he specifically says that if a woman is married to a workaholic husband, that she should gently and sweetly tell him, the kids miss you so much, and they would love it if you were home more. And then you don't bring it up again for at least a month. And if you do bring it up again, you gently and sweetly say, I love you and I love how you're providing for us, but the children really miss you.
Oh.
And that's his advice. Nothing about what she needs. It's just the children miss you. And if you do anything other than what he has laid out for you, you're nagging. And so, but then on the flip side, you if you say it directly, you're nagging. If you use that model, you aren't directly communicating. And so it seems like no matter which way you're trying to communicate, it's wrong. And then you wind up with your husband still isn't listening.
Mhm.
So why does no matter so the it boils down to just talk about it, communicate, improve your
Mhm.
communication.
Mhm.
Why doesn't that, and no matter which way you're doing it, it still doesn't work. So why doesn't communicate about it work to help couples talk about the domestic labor, invisible labor mental load?
Because women have talked about it, like you said. Um, but in order for men just like to say that to women. They like to say, just tell me, just talk more, tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. But they would first have to admit that they didn't listen to their wives the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the 50,000th time. That's why that doesn't work because like for me, I'm really big in on conditioning and how women specifically are conditioned,
Yes.
but I'm also well aware of how men are conditioned, um, societally, socially, culturally. And I think so much of it is just that what it boils down to is what you are asking him to do cannot be, there's no financial tie to it. There's no monetary value to it. And most men have only been conditioned to see value in the things that they can provide financially. That's what they were conditioned to do. Go to work, be the provider, bring home the money,
Protector,
protect your
provider.
invisible homestead, which doesn't exist anymore, but that's what we still love to say. And so the things that women are asking for men to step up more on are things that men can't do inside work, and work brings money. And a lot of that work that women are asking for is women's work. And women's work holds no value because it's unpaid. Therefore, men don't value women's labor. Therefore, men don't value women. You can't just tell someone to magically communicate themselves into a better marriage when the thing that you need the most participation on is something your partner does not see value in. Therefore, they do not see that you are struggling with it. And also, most men's experience is the default because that's how patriarchy works. Everything is built to benefit men at the behest of men. It's always been considered what their experience is going to be like. So if men have not experienced it, which many men have not, they simply cannot empathize with it. And if you cannot empathize with it, you cannot care about it, you cannot value it. It's so deep. You cannot communicate yourself into a better marriage, and you can't communicate yourself into your husband suddenly seeing that he needs to step up, that he needs to care. And my friend Laura Danger actually coined the term the nag paradox, where you tell me, men love to say, just tell me what to do, tell me what to do. So we tell you what to do. And then you say, don't nag me about it. I'll get to it. Not everything has to be done on your timeline. Round and round and round we go. And they continue to avoid accountability and responsibility for it by continuing to ultimately gaslight you in your experience.
Yeah. Side note, excuse me. If you all have not followed Laura Danger, follow her because she's so fantastic talking about these issues along
Mhm.
with Abby. Both of them are amazing, and the way the algorithms work, you follow one, the other is going to start showing up. But I adore her as well. You and I both daily get accused of being man haters, and that's so far from the truth. Um, I love healthy men, and I'm sure that you do too. I love a man who is willing to learn,
Mhm.
who recognizes his, own, oh, yeah, maybe I'm not getting this. Like maybe
Mhm.
I'm not understanding.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not that I hate men, it's that I hate what our culture has conditioned you to think that you are.
Yeah.
Culture has conditioned men to be so much less
Yeah.
than what they could be.
Mhm.
And they're literally accepting less and think that we are expecting too much
Mhm.
and asking too much. And I'm like, you I'm handing you a blueprint to have more and better sex, and
Yeah.
you are mad at me.
Yeah. You hate me.
You
How? Why?
I okay. So with that in mind, that we don't hate men and not all men are bad. Some men are just clueless
Mhm.
because they're, like you said, you have to recognize that there's a problem. And if you've been conditioned to not think that there's a problem, you're
Mhm.
not going, no one goes looking for problems
Right.
to solve because their life is too good. They have it too easy.
Mhm.
So I get why there's a lot of husbands, especially evangelical husbands in the evangelical space, who don't like totally missing the boat here.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're bad. It's
No.
they have no reason to see otherwise. So
Correct.
how does a woman tell if she's dealing with a decent but cluelessly conditioned husband or a partner who genuinely doesn't even like her as a human being?
I think it's the response. If you come to your husband and you're like, I'm drowning, I'm burnout, I feel like I'm the only one carrying all of this mental labor. I'm the only one managing the kids and their schedules and this home and keeping it running. And I really, really, really need more from you. I really need you to take on XYZ. Because otherwise I'm gonna have a full-blown mental breakdown. And he's like, oh, you know what? What about, I go to work every day, okay? I'm working every day to put food on this table, to provide for this family, and nothing I do is ever good enough. You're not even going to say thank you for me mowing the lawn all the time or taking your car to get the oil changed and the tires rotated. Nobody thanks me for that. If that's their reaction every time you bring it up, if there is no ability to have productive conversation, you're just automatically met with defensive tactics, with deflection, with shame and blame. You're not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to sit here and say that your husband hates you because I don't know that to be true, but that is a man who doesn't have the emotional skill set and capacity to hear you, to see you, to empathize with you, and to show up better for you and your family. Um, I always think back, like, because people always want to ask me, like, Abby, how did you know that your husband was going to be, this great, equal, equitable partner? And I'm like, I didn't. I was 21 when we got engaged, 22. But I can look back now and there's always this moment because I came from a really terrible relationship, that was like a 5, 6 year relationship with my previous ex into a relationship with my husband. And I remember like I was a waitress and he worked like the 3 to 11 shift and we never saw each other. His days off were Sunday, Monday, or maybe even Monday, Tuesday. I don't know. No, it was Sunday, Monday. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm a waitress. Like I'll manage my schedule to be with yours. So we're both off Sunday and Monday. But I had to get the church crowd on the waiting staff. So I was like, okay, half day Sunday. But every Monday he would go and grill out with his friends. And I was still in, at college, so I was still going to classes. And I was like, okay, so that doesn't really leave me but like half of a day with you. Because every week you're grilling out with your friends. And he was like, wow, you know what? He's like, I'm really sorry. I didn't, that's just been like what I've been doing for so long. And when we got in this relationship, I wasn't even really thinking that how this would affect you or that, you were feeling this way. And I was like so stunned that I wasn't met with like, "Oh my God, you never let me do what I want to do. I just want to see my friends. Why are you so controlling?" And was like, "How about if I just do like once a month? I grill out with them." And I was like, "Beautiful. Fine. I would love that. I'm not trying to keep you from your friends. I'm just saying like I feel like I never get to see you." Um and it was like in that moment, like looking back that I was like, that man knows how to communicate. That man knows how to see me. He knows how to see my experiences and he knows how to not take it personally. It's not a personal attack. Not everything is a personal attack on you. And we've learned, like, as we've learned and like grown and been married and had children, like our communication style, like, because it can be, you hear nobody wants to be told the things that they're falling short on. So I like to say, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. I'm going to explain how I feel. But what did you hear? Oftentimes it is not the same as what I've just said. So I think there's a really big difference in your husband's response to you bringing these things up, which can help you better understand if there's any way that you're going to have a productive conversation and he's ever going to understand your experience and where you're coming from.
So what if um she is met with that sort of brick wall and he just flat out refuses to learn to participate? What can she do?
I think at that point you have to have a really hard conversation with yourself. Um, because I'm going to guarantee that it's not just this one area that's struggling in your marriage.
Mhm.
It's probably a whole host of them if we're being honest and we're, being true to ourselves and really like talking about it. But that's when you have to get honest with yourself. Can I accept this person for who they are? Not getting my needs met in the way that I need, not showing up for our family in the way that is valuable, in the way that, you know, aligns with our beliefs and the things that we want to do in raising our children. Um, and then can you stay? If even all those things you're not going to get, but you can't leave. One, can you leave? Do you want to leave? Are you willing to leave? What does that look like? You have to get serious with yourself, an honest conversation. And if not, if you're staying, you have to find a way to live with those things. Um, so that you don't honestly kill yourself, keeping quiet and swallowing these issues for the remainder of your years.
I want to talk about that a little bit. Um, you have a 7-day resentment release guide. And one of the things that you talk about in that guide is I feel like I wrote this question down so that I could convey it succinctly, but here we go. I don't know where it went. All right. So you in the guide, you talk about feeling that the unmet expectation, like the top layer is resentment, but under the resentment there's another emotion,
Mhm.
and sitting with that emotion and feeling it. And that is such a big thing in the work that I do,
Mhm.
because mine is from a slightly different angle. You guys, if you've listened to me, you've heard me say it, that women are conditioned to live disconnected from their bodies from the time that we are super young. Oh, you got your first period. Oh, well, pull an Elsa, conceal, don't feel. You still have to go to school. And then we get
Mm-hmm.
to the bedroom and we're shocked that we don't know how to orgasm because if you are so disconnected that you don't allow yourself to feel pain, you can't just suddenly start to feel pleasure,
Yeah.
right? But that in that resentment and that underlying, and so this is all connected, right? Because that resentment and that underlying emotion under the resentment
Mm-hmm.
all live within our body. And
Mm-hmm.
if over years you are, this is building and building and building and building,
Mm-hmm.
how does that start to show up in our bodies
Yeah.
physically?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we know that women staying quiet kills them earlier. Like we have data that supports that. We have data that says that women are more prone to autoimmune diseases because they stay quiet, because ultimately because of our conditioning. Don't rock the boat. Don't upset things. So there's a difference between like swallow it and get through, like grit and bear it the rest of your marriage and process that shit. You don't just get to like hop, skip, and jump over resentment and poof, it's gone and you can move on with your life. This will continue to pop up in your marriage, in your relationship, in your life if you choose to stay. You have to process, you have to move through it because just like you said, it shows up everywhere in our body, especially for women because we're conditioned to be quiet, to not get loud, to not be too emotional, to not get angry, to not feel our feelings. We're supposed to be the peace.
That and especially in evangelical spaces, we're told that we're not being submissive enough,
Yeah.
that the man is the head of the home and
Hmm.
he gets the final say, and so
Hmm.
you just need to submit to what he's calling you to do. We're praised for our suffering,
Hmm.
that suffering at the hands of your husband is akin to suffering for Christ. Uh,
Hmm.
by the way, none of that is biblical. That
Yeah.
is exactly what I was referring to at the top of the episode about the modern American evangelicalism teachings
Hmm.
versus what's actually biblical. But
Yeah.
those are the messages that evangelical women are internalized, that we have to submit harder, and then we wonder why you're, like you said, you're getting the autoimmune. The biggest thing that when this sort of topic comes up for me is always thinking about Nat Lejeune, Mending Me,
Hmm.
and how she 20 years was enduring sexual coercion in her marriage, but also this sort of thing as well, where he was not showing up in the marriage. He was not an equitable partner in the household. And the poor woman stood in the middle of a grocery store and could not think of the word for ketchup because
Hmm.
her brain was
Yeah.
toast.
Hmm.
And she was in testing for autoimmune diseases and everything like that as well. And the more that your body starts to suffer, the less of the domestic load and the mental labor you have
Hmm.
capacity to carry. And so it
Hmm.
turns into this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Um, so in your resentment release guide, you're talking about moving through, letting it go.
Hmm.
So you describe this cycle as an expectation, a disappointment, then the resentment, repeat. And you said that boundaries are the way that you break the cycle.
Hmm.
And I know I see this a lot in my comments. People don't understand the difference between boundaries, threats, rules, and ultimatums.
Hmm.
And so, can you explain the difference and what would a boundary look like versus like an ultimatum
Hmm.
or,
Yeah.
so to help people really start to understand the difference?
I think rules, like your rules and your standards, are things that you set prior to getting in a relationship. These are things like that you're not going to budge on. You're not going to sacrifice on. You're saying, because you're allowed to have your standards of what you will tolerate, of what you will allow, of what you look for in a partner. Those are rules for yourselves. They're not rules for other people. And that's similar for boundaries. Boundaries protect you, they don't control other people. And ultimatums are saying, if you do this, I'm going to do that. Or if you don't do this, I'm going to do that. There's consequences. You're using threats, you're using manipulative tactics. And none of that ultimately works, which is why I think, but so many women don't even know what boundaries are because we were never taught to have any. We were never taught that we were allowed to have them around our time, our bodies, our peace, our emotional labor, our mental labor. And so we're like, what do we just say yes to everything and then we feel guilty about it and then we feel resentment about it. Or we had these expectations, both, spoken and unspoken, that go unmet. And then, we're upset about them and then we're resentful over them. And then round and round and round we go. But boundaries are meant to protect you. So they're saying, like, a lot of times I hear women saying, like, when their husband comes home from work and they've been home with the kids all day and they're like, I I need to tap out. Like, I need you to step in. And you're going to say, when you get home from work, I need 30 minutes to myself. I'm going to take 30 minutes. If it's nice outside, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go for a walk. If it's not, I'm going to go like quiet time in my bedroom. And if you can't do this, I'm going to hire a babysitter during that time. Like, if this is non-negotiable for you, if you're like, no, whatever, that's stupid, that's ridiculous, you don't need that, blah, 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 then I'm going to get a babysitter. I'm going to do something that will allow me to have my time. It's not if you're not like, if you don't do this, I'm going to run away or
If you don't watch the kids for 30 minutes when you get home, I'm not going to have sex with you.
yeah.
Just
Mhm.
relating it back to my content and the things I get accused
Exactly.
of.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. But women weren't taught that we were allowed to have these boundaries. And like I saw this video today, and I see them a lot on like mom accounts. That's like, go for that. I think this one today was like, go for that 30-minute walk because, or I'm going for that 30-minute walk because it protects my peace and I don't like who I am when I don't move my body. And I was like, great, I love this. But you can't protect your peace when you were taught that you were the peace.
Yeah, that's,
You can't just say things when you were never taught how to do them and they just manifest themselves and you're like, hey, I'm protecting my peace. Because otherwise you're like, girl, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? What does your peace look like? And how are you protecting it? You saying it and you just going on this walk, isn't it? But like, let's dig deeper here and let's find a way to set a boundary for you to actually do that.
and I mean, honestly, you could be going for the walk and still not have protected peace. Because
I
what
spend the
if
whole
you're
time arguing with somebody invisible about something that just happened and not be a piece at all.
right? Or you go on the 30, I'm thinking about the things that I see a lot where she goes on the 30-minute walk and she comes back and the kid got into the baking cabinet
Oh,
and there's sprinkles all over the kitchen counter
huh?
because dad was had his head down in his phone
Hmm.
and wasn't paying attention to the 3-year-old climbing the counters,
Yeah,
right? And
you're
so
punished for it because you come
she
home to situations like that. You're punished for protecting your peace.
you went on that walk, you're not actually peaceful afterwards.
Mm-mm.
So I think that, and you, oh gosh, you saying that women were taught that they were the peace and not that they, I get so many women, evangelical women in particular, who tell me I didn't know that I could say no to my husband's sexual advances, or
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
husband gets crabby if I don't have sex with him every 3 days, and he gets
Yeah.
upset and he starts getting mean or things like that. And she's literally been taught and
Yes. Yeah.
socialized
Yeah.
that she has to offer her body
Hmm.
to manage his emotions.
Yep. Yeah.
And
How terrible.
I,
I'm not your pacifier.
yes, I just like it's all related. And I'm like, how do we make people understand that all of these things are related?
Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's heavy work.
Yes. And I've tried to sum it up with my healthy women in safe marriages don't turn down good sex for no reason, right?
Exactly.
And it isn't that she's manipulating you by withholding sex if you won't watch the kids for 30 minutes.
Hmm.
It's that she doesn't feel safe enough and her nervous system does not feel safe with you because she can't trust you with her kids for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And she knows that you don't prioritize the safety of her nervous system because you won't watch the kids for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're not prioritizing her emotional well-being. It's not
Yeah.
chore play. I want to strangle the person that created chore play.
Oh,
Um, I would love
same.
to just exile them because it's not transactional. That's not the point. Like, I made a video the other day because there was this guy and I was so irritated who was on TikTok who was like, if you want to get laid, just participate in the home, man. And I was surprised that so many of my mutuals were like, that's it, it's so simple, and praising him. And I was like, are you all dumb? No. Are we watching the same thing? Did we just hear the same message? Because that's not it still.
It's
You're not doing tasks in your house to get sex. You're doing it because you're an adult. That's what you do. And when you have an equitable partnership, and both people get fair time to decompress, that their needs are being prioritized, that their needs are being met, that there's emotional safety and emotional connection. When two people are doing that versus just one of them, everybody gets more free time and everybody gets more ability to find fulfillment in different ways that make them happier, that make them healthier. That is a great way for good sex to come about.
yes.
I'm not saying, oh, if you do the dishes, I'm going to have sex with you. No, I'm saying the more consistently the dishes get done, the less I have to think about them, the less I have to worry about them, the less I have to have anxiety over them, the less I'm, feeling disconnected to you because you didn't again. And now I'm resentful because I've asked you a handful of times and you said you would do it and then you didn't do it. And here I am doing it and I'm seething. That's not the point. You do the dishes because the dishes need to get done. And when you're consistently doing all of the things equitably because you care genuinely about the health and well-being, emotional well-being of your partner, they feel that, they know that. And natural good sex comes from that.
Yes. Yes. So much yes. Yeah. And like I guess I also get so frustrated with those videos because it's like you're so close.
You're so
And you're
close.
still so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and that's when it's really hard to argue with the people that are like, you just hate men. I'm like, well, I
No, I'm
don't.
sorry. I have really high standards that I will not apologize for.
Yes.
I
No,
hate the systems. I hate the
hmm
patriarchy. I hate the systems that uphold the patriarchy. And unfortunately, a lot of that is men.
Yeah.
I do not hate them though.
I don't know. No. But you're right. It's the patriarchy, it's the culture and it's the system. And that brings us to, it's like a dirty word in my house. Tradwife content.
Ugh. It's a visceral reaction.
Can y'all just admit that it's kink? It's a
Please,
kink.
for all of us,
Just admit that you have a kink. It's okay to have kinks, people. It
love
is. And
kinks.
if your kink is making sourdough in a pretty dress, embrace it.
Just own it.
Maybe get a Bluetooth vibrator to go with the whole thing. Like
Have your
just
husband do it remotely.
yes,
Fun.
exactly.
See how well you can make that sourdough with something in your panties that you can't control.
Wait, we are there's this phenomenon right now in the intersection of trad wave content and evangelical creators
Mm-hmm.
that are trying to turn their kinks into theology
Mm-hmm.
and telling Christian women that being a good Christian wife means that she should be the sole caretaker of home and family.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about the research that tells us that this is a harmful narrative?
Yes. So my friend, I know we talked about this like before we started recording, but my friend is actually writing her dissertation on trad wives. And
Wait, I want to be friends with her too.
she's amazing. And we've talked really extensively about that, and she really touches on it from like an evangelical religious perspective. But I've talked about this a lot, and it started out as like trad wife content, but now we're seeing it grow legs, and it's in this anti-ambition, anti-aspirational content where we're convincing women to step back further and further and further. Like the pendulum has swung so far the other way from girl bossing as millennials, where we were leaning in, we're girl bossing,
Yeah.
we're doing it, we're doing everything, we're having it all. Now we're so far the other way where they're like, don't have anything. Don't even go to high school. Like, just rely on a man. Like, no, it's so, so, so dangerous. And it's so fake. It's so
Yeah.
fake, you guys. Like, please, please, I promise you, it's not easy. Like, and the whole phenomenon of like, I don't work, ma'am, do you
You're
know what
creating
it takes to
content.
make the video content you are pumping out at the rate that you
Yes.
are, with the amount of children you are caring for, with your homestead, your little whole family farm garden and chickens and cows and goats, and you're making like
Let's be so for real. We're calling
it's
out
so
ballerina
much
farms right
work.
now.
Okay? Those women work harder than I do, and I will
Yes.
guarantee it, and I will die on that hill. That is
Yes.
work. You are making
Yes.
money. Like, and even if you're not making money, that's still work. Caring for the home is still work. It's laborious. It's been historically unpaid. It is still unpaid, but it is still labor and it is
And
still work.
also, girl, if you found a way to make money off of cleaning your house,
Girl, do it. I'm
like
jealous.
do it. Because
Yeah,
then you'll have a clean house and money.
and money.
I have a very messy house, a closet full of sex toys, and not a whole lot of money. Like I have the sex toys going for me because people,
But But like the thing of it is that like we are seeing, and I think a lot of this is like I'm very politically driven, so I get political, but I think this is very political moments and movement, and it's been going this way for quite some time. It's just all coming up faster and faster and faster. And I think a lot of it too is because they're preying on women's exhaustion. We're seeing like the women being pushed out of the workforce after the rise of COVID numbers of women in the workforce is staggering. It is drastic. It is noticeable. These return to office policies are pushing women out because who benefited from flexibility in the workplace? Mostly women, because we're the ones doing the most of the childcare and the domestic labor and shuttling kids around and being able to pick up kids at 3:40 when they get out of school and drop off at 9 o'clock when they need to go in. We're the ones that benefited from all of those things. And now that that's being taken away, we've got DEI rollbacks. We've got this whole masculinity in the workforce thing is pushing women out. And then they're saying, "Ah, you know what? Don't try to get another job. Girl, you're tired.
you
That's one less thing you have to worry about. Think of how much free time you're going to have now that you're not working."
you just made me realize I have seen a ton of videos of people like on the phone with HR, like
Mhm.
we're returning to office, you know, all of like those sorts of
Mhm.
scenarios. I
Mhm.
can't think of a single man
No.
who have seen that sort of content from.
No.
It's been exclusively women
Yeah.
that I even think about that.
Yeah.
And I also like I do want to throw out there that if you don't want to work outside of your home,
Yeah.
I fully like that's fully choose that. Absolutely. I was a stay-at-home mom when I started doing the Christian Sexpert, and I honestly thought the ADHD would take over and
Mhm.
it would last 2 weeks. And now here I am doing a podcast with Abby Eckel. Like I
Yeah.
was a stay-at-home mom, and that was such a valuable season of my life. And but it's what I chose.
Yeah.
I made that choice.
Yes.
And I didn't make the choice because I thought that that was the only way to be a biblical woman.
Hmm.
I didn't make that choice because my husband told me I had to submit to his authority
Hmm.
over our household.
Hmm.
My husband and I made that choice because of the values that we held in our marriage and the way that we wanted our children raised.
Hmm.
And so it's not that I'm like, everybody should work, don't stay home with your kids.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of like media literacy and realize that when you're seeing
Hmm.
tradwife content, I would say half of the tradwife creators are knowingly putting out kink content
Yeah.
and like they know precisely the sort of demographic because we can see as creators, we can see our demographics. We can see the percentage of male versus female,
Hmm.
followers and
Hmm.
viewers and things. And it even gets broken down by video. I can see on certain videos which attracts more male followers. Guess what? It's never the videos where I'm talking about consent. It's the
Hmm.
videos where it's like, send this to your spouse. And they tell them to meet you in the bedroom naked. Like
Yeah.
that's the videos that attract the male followers for
Yeah.
me. Um, but we can see those things, and at least so when you're seeing a trad wife creator, like be aware of all of these other things that are influencing the content that she's putting out and what's actually being said.
And understand that that is likely not going to be your situation.
Yeah.
Nara Smith is a millionaire. Ballerina Farms is a millionaire. Most of those women have shit tons of money. Their husbands have tons of money. They are raking in money from brand deals, from content, from their own jobs, from their own probably LLCs that they've hidden under some discreet name that you're not going to know about.
Yeah.
Your life is not going to look like that. When you look at the statistics, the average white man, and I'm going to say white because it's important here, makes
Yes.
about $77,000 a year before taxes. An average family of four's cost of living is $120,000. Most people have two children. You do the math.
Yeah.
It doesn't math. Your life will not look glamorous. It will not look luxurious. You will not be going to get matchas at Tuesday and Pilates and mommy and me classes, okay? In a milkmaid dress with your fake boobs. Sorry. It's a
And
lie, and they're knowingly lying to you. They're pushing a lie and a story and a life that doesn't exist for the average woman. And you wonder, why don't I see 50-year-old trad wives touting this lifestyle? Why? Why don't I see 40-year-old trad wives touting this lifestyle? There's a
because
reason it's not glamorous when you get to be that old. It's not fun. It's
but
exhausting.
also 40-year-old women don't have the patience to make up to get up and do their
Perimenopausal.
they don't have the patience
They're
to get up,
angry.
do their hair and makeup, and then record themselves cleaning their house.
No, no. Let me tell you, the hardest content I have ever created is a day in the life content.
See, I tried that like once.
It's awful. It's
Did
awful. I
that
was like,
like
I'm not built
once.
for this. I'm not
No.
meant for this. I don't have the patience for it. It takes so much work. So
Yeah.
much work. I'm like, I'd rather get on here and just yap for a minute and a half and call it
I
good.
know. And I did.
I'll go
I
on
did.
about trad wives, so I'm sorry. I'll just
Well, and because I really also, I mean, same. I want people to understand that this is not the whole trad wife social media thing has nothing to do with biblical womanhood and
no.
everything to do with making money and
Yes.
for some of them attracting a certain sort of follower.
Yeah.
And I want people
For sure.
and I want people to understand that. And like if you take nothing else from this, that and because it's all I feel like the guy with the cork board and the little push pins, it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
Because also the men are seeing this trad wife content.
Hmm.
And like there's a reason that I say it's kink. There's multiple reasons that I say it's kink. Because
Yes.
first of all, the whole 1950s aesthetic housewife is a very common cosplay kink
Hmm.
role play scenario
Hmm.
in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a super popular fantasy. Also, the 1950s housewife wasn't even a thing in the 1950s that was created as marketing.
It's
Like
market, it's propaganda, you idiots.
it's probably it's like literally
Not real.
it wasn't real it was marketed like it was
All those
marketing.
images are marketed for things to help women do domestic labor better. That's all.
Yes. Yes. But it's also kink content
Yes.
because it is aimed at a certain sort of man who enjoys having a wife who handles all of the domestic labor and all of the mental load so that he doesn't have to be burdened with it. And it's that fantasy of
Is he
this,
also into his mom? Like, is it a is it a mommy kink too?
I mean, it could be. Um, and look, we don't kink shame in
Not
at
at
the Christian
all.
Expert,
No.
but you
Just
have to
curious.
right, absolutely. But you have to understand that that's cultivating a fantasy, which
Hmm.
is then influencing what is actually real like happening in your marriage,
Hmm.
leading to him thinking, well, I don't have to participate in. But I saw a thread on Facebook last week of a woman saying, my husband works. Does that mean that he shouldn't have to help put the kids to bed at night? And you see, it's the cork board with the push pins. It's all connected because he's got this fantasy that his wife's going to take care of everything and he doesn't have to participate in the household because he's the protector and provider in
And then he
that
still
sort.
gets sex whenever he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. After she's done putting the kids to bed, then he can have sex whenever he wants because the 1950s housewife trad wife is not going to say no,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And you know, the Bible says you can't say no. The Bible says you can't deprive him. And it's all of those things are all connected.
Yep. All of them.
All of them. All right. So if we have identified that there's some outside influences affecting what's going on in the marriage and now we're realizing okay, I realize I have this bubbling resentment that I've been trying to ignore, and okay, now that you're telling me I have to like sit with it and feel it, and that's gross. um and so what are some of the first steps if she's feeling like, I want a more equal partnership, but I don't also want constant conflict, but I don't really know like what to do. Like what, like tell me what I have found that my followers really like to be told what to do. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
that's another kink that we've got that
Hmm.
we're not shaming, but what do they do? What are
I
the
like to be told
steps?
what to do as well.
I mean,
Mostly because I
everybody like
like clear directions
yeah.
for
Oh
my
yeah.
brain. But so what can they do? They have to start centering themselves.
What does that mean? That I mean, it sounds really good.
Yes. Yeah, of
It
course.
sounds really
Sounds
good,
great.
but
A lot like protect your peace. Center
Yeah,
yourself. It seems so easy. Oh,
right.
okay. I'll just center myself. I'm centering
But like,
myself. But in
what does that
practice, in
mean?
theory, what does that mean? It means prioritizing yourself. It means prioritizing your well-being. It means prioritizing your your needs. And it means I am going to start finding fulfillment in the ways that benefit me. I'm not saying yes to things I want, I don't want to do anymore. I'm going to take the time for myself to find fulfillment, to find the hobbies that I like, to find myself again, to figure out who I am again through hobbies. And I'm going to fulfill those without guilt. I'm going to find who I am again. I'm going to buy and cook the meals that I want to cook. Or if I don't want to cook, I'm not cooking. Because guess what? Nobody's going to die. It's going to be okay. They'll find something. We'll find a way. There will be natural consequences. I'm not going to remind my husband to set his own appointments. I'm not going to make them for him. I'm not going to remind my husband of his mom's birthday. I'm not going to be in charge of my husband's emotional well-being anymore. I'm not going to, you are, you're setting, you're setting boundaries. You have to set your boundaries. If you want to center yourself, you have to learn to set boundaries and you have to get comfortable setting those boundaries. And then you have to realize that you matter and you have to feel comfortable with with the pushback, with the way people are going to react to this new change because when we don't have boundaries, other people are benefiting from us not having them.
One of my favorite memes that I keep in my phone to whip out occasionally and upset people is if someone reacts with hostility to you setting a boundary, it's a good indication the boundary was necessary in the
Yes.
first place.
Yep. Hmm.
And there's another one that I have that says if someone reacts with hostility to your boundary,
Hmm.
you have found the edge of where their respect for you ends.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so
Yeah.
as you're talking about like saying no and things like that, also like when I first asked the question, like what does centering yourself mean? My first thought was I cannot tell you how to fold in the cheese, David. You just have to fold it
You
in.
just have to fold it. I know what you're saying, but like,
That,
what does that mean? What does that, let
yeah,
me fold in the cheese.
you're right. And so the way that I have folded in the cheese in
Hmm.
my own life a little bit
Hmm.
is my husband came home from a play date with our son and his friend and his son. They're the same age group, and my husband was like, they're in trail life, and it's so great and it would be such a great program for our son, and it just sounds like so much fun and something, blah blah blah. And I was like, cool, you do it.
Don't
I'm
care.
not I'm
I'm not
not going to
doing
be
that shit.
involved. I was like, it truly, it does sound wonderful for you guys.
Hmm.
I am not going to research
Mm-mm.
when the meeting is, where it is. I am not going to figure out a uniform. If it's
No.
in the laundry and I'm already doing laundry, I'll throw
Great.
it in.
Sure.
But I'm not going
Mm-mm.
to run around on the afternoon of the meeting figuring out if it's clean. I'm not being in charge of that. I'm not going to figure out all the special events that are associated with it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to figure out the fees and if we can afford the fees or anything like that.
No.
And truly, and that was really on it, and it's been several years now, but that was
Hmm.
truly one of the first things in my son's life that I was like, nope, you
Nope.
do everything,
I'm done. I'm
all
out.
on you.
Yeah. Yep.
And he has done it. It's been several years, and
Hmm.
I cannot tell you when I know it starts in September sometime. I don't know when the first meeting is. I don't know where the uniforms are. I assume they got laundered at the end of last season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been wonderful for all of us
Yeah.
because, it truly it's been wonderful for all of us because I get one evening a week alone in my house and I don't have to worry about like getting my kid out, like getting him ready, getting him out the door is all on my husband unless, like he's traveling for work or something. Then sure,
Sure.
I'll get him ready. I'll drop him off. No big
Yeah.
deal. Right? But even then, I still have to call my husband if my husband is traveling for work and it's a meeting night. I have to call him and be like, "Hey, what time is the meeting? I don't even know. I
Yeah.
know, I think I know what time you guys leave the house, but you guys don't leave the house at the same time every week. You need to like confirm. And also, what time do I pick him up? Because I don't
Yeah.
know that either."
Hmm.
And it's been amazing. And
Yeah.
so y'all should have something like, and so this is a very practical example of a
Yep.
way that you can remove yourself from the equation.
Yeah. And it's really, really, really hard for women. Okay, let me tell you, it's really hard for women to allow natural consequences to happen. When you start centering yourself and you stop anticipating and planning for everybody else, it's really hard because you're like, oh, especially if there's a chance that it's going to negatively affect your children.
Well,
If
but
you're like,
there's
oh, my husband
also,
wanted to sign us up for this, and so but if I'm not doing it, then he's gonna forget. And then Johnny's not gonna make it to practice. And then Johnny's not gonna get to play in the game. First of all, let me just explain something. Johnny's probably not gonna go pro, so it's gonna be all right. And the natural consequence of that is you shutting up and your husband forgetting, and Johnny not making it to practice, and Johnny not playing in the game. That's gonna suck. But that's also not on you. That's not
but
on you.
there's also more consequences than just that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I have walked into things like an awards night. Or
Hmm.
no, I walked in one time when my husband was traveling for work to pick up my son. My husband is a leader in the troop. Like he is like a person in charge in the troop. I walked in to pick up my kid and they said, "Who are you? Who are you here for?" And I
Hmm.
said, "Oh, I'm so and so's mom." And he
Hmm.
said, "Oh, I had no idea that you were his mom because I'm never there.
Uh-huh.
They didn't recognize me." And what does that say? Like, think about it. Like, what does that say about a woman who
Hmm.
doesn't, like, a mom who's not at her kid stuff to
Hmm.
the point where the mom isn't recognized when she walks in?
Hmm.
That's odd socially. There have been times where I was asked, like, we only have, so the girls' meeting is at the same time as the boys' meeting, and for the different groups. And there was one point where someone approached my husband and said, "Would your wife be interested in helping with the girls?"
No.
And he came home and said that, and I laughed. I, and I said, "No,
No.
no, no." And it's not that like I'm first of all, I'm not really I'm a my kid person, not really a, like other
Other
kids
kids, people. Yeah.
people. I'm not the best with kids. But it also like that was a social like because I know that there were women that were like, why isn't his wife also involved?
Hmm.
Because so many of the leaders, like it's the couple is
Yeah.
involved. So
Yeah.
it's not just the consequences of maybe Johnny isn't going to make it to practice. It's the
Hmm.
social, like the potential negative social
Yep.
impact
Hmm.
of
Yep.
what's wrong
How
with,
that's going to reflect on you.
yeah, like what's
Yep.
wrong with her.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And you have to be okay. But also like, I'm a fat woman who talks about sex on the internet. I am already okay with people not liking me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm well aware people don't like me.
yeah.
It's okay. I don't care.
Yeah, so but that's I know that's a concern for other people and it's a valid concern for other people. It's
Hmm.
just something
Yes.
I have gotten over in my life.
Yes.
Okay, how do you support women who are trying to navigate this sort of stuff in their marriage?
So I do have a guide that it's called Wellbeing Today, Freedom Tomorrow. And it's for women specifically who can't leave their marriages right now. They're deeply unhappy, but for whatever reason, I don't need to know, doesn't matter, your circumstances, you can't leave. So how do you learn to move through your life in this particular way? And maybe there's potential that you could leave. Um, but right now there's like, okay, what do I actually need to do day to day to, I don't want to say like stifle your resentment because it's going to be there, but better work through it, better reset your expectations, um, ways to, I'm going to say co-parent, like because you're essentially quiet quitting your marriage, um, and how to have non-emotional conversations, how to take care of yourself, how to recognize potentially abusive tactics, and then what to expect or ways to plan in the event that you do want to get divorced. So I've talked to quite a few lawyers. I've talked to quite a few therapists. I've talked to a lot of women who've been in these positions and what you need to do to expect in terms of how to pay for a divorce, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't have your own stream of income. What are ways to do that? How can you find a divorce lawyer? What to ask in consultations? What type of lawyer you want to look at? What's the reality of child custody agreements? What's the reality of spousal support or alimony, whatever you want to call it? And then I do have I do talk to women one to one as well, but then I also just have loads of content.
Yes. And I do want to throw out a little disclaimer here because I can already hear the accusations because I get these accusations on the regular. I am not telling anyone to run out and get a divorce. And
Nope.
I am not, and I don't think that's what I've never seen Abby say, just run out and get a divorce. I recognize that this sort of thing doesn't happen in a vacuum in a marriage because we
Nope.
even said it earlier in the episode that if you're having this sort of issue, it's probably guaranteed there's other issues in the marriage as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And I know, especially this sort of thing lends itself very easily to financial abuse.
Very.
And this is about prioritizing safety for
Hmm.
women,
Hmm.
not like emotional safety. If you are remaining, there's a million reasons to leave, and there's also a million reasons to stay.
Yep.
And it's super complex, and I don't claim to know what's right in any specific situation because I'm not anyone's Holy Spirit.
No.
I am, so this is my very long-winded disclaimer of I am providing you information
Hmm.
and y'all are responsible for your own decisions between you, your husband, and the Holy Spirit, or whatever that equation looks like for you. I am offering you information to prioritize the safety of women. That
Yep.
is what I am offering. Please don't accuse me of advocating for divorce because that's not what this episode was about.
No. I don't
Uh,
advocate for divorce. I advocate for women's happiness.
yes.
Maybe ask
And
yourself why women's happiness usually looks like them getting divorced.
right. And also, like, oh gosh, I need to not rabbit trail. Okay. Um,
Right.
um, but also, like, going back to what we said, maybe it is just a clueless husband and, working and, and her working with you while he catches up
Hmm.
and does the work because he's not going to learn these things in a week,
No.
right? And so you
Talking
still
years
have,
of unlearning and learning on his
right.
part.
And so there's still going to be time that you like moments of the resentment and the like, is this, like conditioning or is this actually inequitable or
Hmm.
like, and so that's why your resource is still important. Like,
Hmm.
even if it's just the clueless man who, once he realizes, wants to learn to do better.
Hmm.
Is because there's still stuff that needs, okay, all right, get it together. Okay. Do you have any I just like I there's just so many things that I want to say. And
Yeah.
my mouth can only say one word at a time.
It
Really frustrating.
is.
And also I'm assuming it's a dog
Oh, it's my
behind
dog
you.
back there.
It's killing me.
Large black figure that keeps popping
Just
around on my
what,
bed.
just, what like I just see a large black figure writhing around and my
It's my
ADHD is
dog.
dying.
She's figuring out what she wants to do with life.
I mean, I understand. My viewers are used to my little tiny one popping up. Okay, so all right. Do you have any last thoughts that you would like to leave the listeners with?
Oh God. So many things.
I know. And your mouth can only say one word at a
I
time.
know. I only have so long. Um, I'm never prepared for this question. I should be. I should be better prepared for it.
Well, you
I
have to like
just
think about what we talked about. Like, did we already cover this? Did we not cover this? You know, like I get it.
I just want women to know that they deserve to be happy. I think of it in like this one short life we have to live. You deserve to be happy, whatever that looks like, whatever that looks like, and everything else will fall into place. It will happen. You you deserve to be happy. Your kids deserve to see a happy mom. You just deserve to be happy in whatever way that looks like, and you're deserving and you're worth it, and you aren't asking for too much. You're not crazy. Uh, your concerns are valid, your problems are valid. Yeah, just the amount of times I have women that are like, "Oh my God, thank you for making me feel like I'm not crazy."
Mhm.
Like, thank you for just seeing me. Like, I see you. It's valid.
Yeah.
What you're going through is a valid situation, and you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be resentful. You're allowed to feel the things that you feel, and you're allowed
And
to be happy.
and you are allowed to not want sex if you are in this type of marriage.
God, yeah.
Just to bring it back to what I
Hmm.
usually talk about.
Yeah.
Um, if your
You're allowed
husband,
to want good sex.
you're allowed to want good sex. Yeah. And you are allowed to not want bad sex.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you are allowed to not want to make yourself physically vulnerable with a man who is not participating in the household.
It
That
doesn't
does
make
not,
people say,
yeah, Abby said you deserve to be happy. And I would almost say it because Christians are going to say, well, the Bible never promises happiness. No, but also the Bible never calls us to sacrifice our safety on the altar of a man's selfish desires. And
preach.
um, yeah, if you substitute if the happiness makes you uncomfortable, go back, rewind however many minutes, and every time she says happy, insert safe. And
Hmm.
think about how that changes your perspective on this episode
Yeah,
because
good point.
you deserve not only, and I don't just mean your physical safety. He's, oh, he doesn't hit me,
No.
but he never puts the kids to bed. Oh,
Hmm.
he doesn't hit me, but he refuses to wash dishes because I stay at home and that's my job.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
not safe.
No.
That is not an emotionally safe person.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that transcends the
Yeah.
happiness.
And you don't
Um,
have to like reframe your husband's neglect into like a positive situation.
right.
It's just neglect.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
it. It's just abuse. It's just neglect. You don't have
He
to find a positive spiritual spin on it.
he's such a good dad. He just, you know,
Hmm.
whatever. If you have to say he's such a good dad,
Hmm. But
it's still a problem.
yeah.
You are still making excuses.
Hmm.
And I think it's time that we take a real honest look about what safety in marriage means.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
and safety in marriage, I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, I'm going to pull it together. Okay, safety in marriage uh, is important. And if you need help, reach out to Abby for support. Find a therapist to figure out how to learn have them teach you how to set what a boundary is, how to
Mhm.
set a boundary. What's
Mhm.
that going to look like in your marriage? What do you do if you set a boundary and he gets mad and throws a tantrum? What do
Yep.
you do? Get support. All right. Thank you, Abby, so much for being here. And this feels really awkward, but go have good sex, guys.
Mhm. If it works for you,
Yeah.
if it's
If
safe for
you
you, yes,
if
go
it's
have good
if
sex.
if it's say I think I need a new catchphrase for episodes like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Abby gave us so much wisdom today about the difference between boundaries and ultimatums, how resentment shows up in our bodies, and why just communicating better is not the magic fix that we've been promised. Also, submitting harder doesn't work. If you're listening and realizing that you've been trapped in the cycle of expectation, disappointment, and resentment, you're not alone and you don't have to keep carrying it all. You can find Abby's resources, including her 7-day resentment release guide, in the show notes. And if this episode stirred something in you, maybe it's time to explore what your marriage could look like with support, coaching, and new tools. And if you're realizing that your lack of interest in sex might actually be connected to all of this mental load stuff, you can book a free 15-minute consultation for coaching with me, and we can talk about why you're not too interested in hopping into bed. Because remember, healthy women in safe marriages don't turn down good sex for no reason. As always, I'm Angela, the Christian sexpert. Until next time, go have good sex. That's it for today's episode. You've been blessed and probably slightly scandalized. Now, go journal, go text your man, and most of all, don't keep this to yourself. Share it, review it, slide into my DMs. Then grab a journal, a game, or a coaching spot. And remember, Jesus didn't die for you to have boring sex. So go have good sex already.